Curt Cignetti's coaching staff for Indiana football just took a major hit on the offensive side, but don't you worry, he found a quick replacement with a familiar name.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Well, on today's episode, we're talking Indiana basketball, with some clips from last night's live show. If you missed it, as Indiana falls to USC on the road. I think Indiana's just an undisciplined basketball team. I'll tell you why and how they can try and turn things around against Wisconsin coming up this Saturday. But there was some big-time news yesterday out of Indiana football. Some bad news and then some good news to follow it up. So we'll go in chronological order here, because Indiana's coaching staff for Curt Cignetti, right, coming off a national championship, we've praised him, we've praised Indiana, and rightfully so, because they've been able to keep their staff together. Now, I've got buddies here at the network that continue to tell me that Indiana's coordinators will leave us to high and dry in the dust and go take head coaching jobs someday, and they very well might. But Bryant, Haines, and Mike Shanahan, at least for now, are not going anywhere. And that needs to be celebrated. That needs to be commanded by this Indiana staff and Curt Cignetti and the athletics department for keeping that together. But we were probably foolish to think that nobody would leave, that nobody would go somewhere else, take a different job, a better job, a step up, whatever. And Indiana took a major blow on the offensive coaching staff, particularly on the offense, in a room that just produced a Heisman Trophy winner. As Chandler Whitmer, Indiana's co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, left Indiana and is heading to the NFL. He took a job in the NFL. He took a job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to become their quarterbacks coach for Tampa Bay in the NFL. And I first want to say congratulations to him, because I think Whitmer is a fantastic coach. I think he is an up-and-comer. I think he is someone that has, well, I know he has quickly climbed the ranks. And the fact that the NFL came calling after just 1 year with him on the job in Bloomington, it shows how good the guy really is. And I think he has a chance to be a major coach someday. Heck, Fernando Mendoza compared the guy to Sean McVay of the Rams. Like, that's a pretty good comparison and a pretty good compliment from a Heisman Trophy winner. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think Chandler Whitmer gets enough love and support and credit for what Indiana did offensively this year. You just went undefeated. You produced the Heisman Trophy winner. You were one of the best offenses in the country, and your passing game was nearly unstoppable. We talk so much about Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, and obviously he's the guy at the top of that side of the ball. He gets most of the credit. But Chandler Whitmer deserves to be in that conversation too. And so to that, I say thank you to him and best of luck moving on. But by no means do I want to sit here and say, right, and hopefully this doesn't come off that way, especially what I just said, but you can't sit here and say, whatever. He's, co-offensive coordinator. Okay. Quarterbacks coach. Okay, whatever. If you sit here and think that that's not a big deal, that he just left to go to an NFL job, you're crazy. And you're also wrong and you're naive, in my opinion, because Chandler Whitmer is a damn good coach. And the fact that Curt Cignetti brought him in with no former connections, with no previous connection, no ties or anything, he just said, yeah, people told me about you. Come on in. Let's see what you can do. And I want to flash back a little bit here and remind you that Chandler Whitmer was stepping in, right, at a time for Indiana where you had just lost a really good co-offensive coordinator and a really good quarterbacks coach. in Mr. Tino Sunseri, who had gone out west to Los Angeles and taken a full-time offensive coordinator role with the Bruins. Now we know how that went, unfortunately. He coached 4 games there because head coach Foster got fired, got canned because he was terrible. He lost it at the press conference. He got fired, and everybody else on his staff did too. And so Tino kind of got the short end of the stick, right? I mean, you look at that situation and it was like, dang, that sucks. You gambled on yourself and it didn't really work. Not really because of you. You just kind of put yourself in a situation. You put yourself in a sinking ship, if you will. You didn't know it, but that's what happened to Tino. And if you remember my reactions on this very show on Locked On Hoosiers, I made a big deal about this. I made a big stink here because I said Tino Sunseri is awesome. He was the reason Indiana's offense was revived in 2024. He helped Curtis Rourke become one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. He got Curtis Rourke drafted, folks. He got him put in the NFL and helped Indiana's offense become relevant and get you to the college football playoff. That was a big deal. And that's why I made such a big deal about it when he left. I was sad to see him go, but very excited for the opportunity he got at UCLA. I'm now sad to see Chandler Whitmer leave and go to a different job, and I hope nothing but the best. But funny how the universe works sometimes, huh? Funny how things work out. Because Chandler Whitmer leaves, actually, let's flash back. Tino Sunseri leaves, Chandler Whitmer comes in, Chandler Whitmer leaves, and here comes Tino. Tino Sunseri has been rehired by Indiana to be the co-offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coach. He gets another opportunity. He's coming back to Bloomington. I feel bad for the guy because he left in a time where you just came off a national championship. He couldn't have known, and you got to respect his decision to gamble on himself and take that shot. But now he's back, and now he gets to be under Shanahan, under Cignetti, and he's got Josh freaking Hoover to work with this year. That's the guy that he gets to kind of mold one final time, a guy that's very polished, very talented, and already getting Heisman love. We talked about that on our Monday show. And here comes Tino. I am so excited about this. And the fact that it all happened on the same day tells me that you kind of knew all this. What Indiana knew what was happening here. They knew that Whitmer was interviewing. They knew he wanted the job. They knew he was probably going to get the job. So they pick up the phone and they said, hey, man, why don't you come on home? Why don't you strayed away for a little bit. You went and took a trip. You checked out Los Angeles. Wasn't for you. Why don't you come on home and come be a part of a national championship program? And so this is a very, very big deal. Expect no drop-off for Indiana's passing game, quarterback development, and offensive firepower next season because Tino Sunseri has returned. He is Indiana's co-offensive coordinator and the new quarterback's coach for 2026. All right, well, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, we're going to flip to basketball and talk about Indiana falling on the road to USC. Big opportunity, great chance to stack wins. What did Indiana do? Just played terrible. That's what they do, and that's what they did. We talk about that coming up next.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukalij and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
I mean, how much more frustration and heartbreak can we have? How many more times can we build ourselves up about this Indiana team, start to get excited about this Indiana team, believe in this Indiana team, and then they come out and just remind us of what they really are? This is what this team is. I'm sorry. This is what they are. Because I was excited about what this team was doing on a win streak. I was excited about it because you can see the potential of this team. You can see what they can be at their best, right? Was Saturday against UCLA the prettiest of wins on the year? No, but you got it done. You got the win. I don't care that you blew a 10-point lead. You found a way to get it done against UCLA. Tonight against USC was a completely different story. You shot the ball terribly. You got bullied on the boards. You still can't defend without fouling. I said that going into this game. Funny how that works. And you let somebody who played in his 5th ever career college basketball game make you look silly on national television. That's what happened to you tonight. You played this game and you got beat. Plain and simple, 40 minutes in, 40 minutes out, you got beat. 81-75. Indiana did not play good enough to win this game. They did not deserve to win this game, other than if your name is Lamar Wilkerson. That's it. That's the only guy that deserved to win tonight that was wearing the cream and crimson. Our man dropped 33 points on the road. What are we doing? Your best player gives you 33 points and you still can't win a basketball game? You still find ways to lose? You had 2 guys foul out. Another one threatened to do it. Reed Bailey took a big step back tonight. How does Reed Bailey, I know he was in foul trouble, and I know he only played 18 minutes, but how does Reed Bailey not grab a single rebound? Does anybody have an explanation for that? No rebounds for Reed Bailey. Sam Alexis had 2. The 2 biggest guys on your team had 2 combined rebounds. Tell me how that works. Tell me how that is going to win you basketball games. Hint, it's not. Your leading rebounder was Tucker DeVries. Thank God he can rebound and pass the ball because, my God, he can't score. He can't shoot. He can't. He can't do it. He was 1 for 9 from the floor. 1 for 9. How is that even possible for a guy that has averaged 20 points his entire career? How has this guy taken such a step back offensively? But I give him credit because he makes winning plays. Down the stretch in this game, he made winning plays. The steal in the corner to give Indiana a chance where they swung it around, got it to Conaway, he got the layup, right? Those are winning plays by Tucker DeVries. So I will hate on his offensive game, sure, but rebounding and assisting, he at least makes it up somewhere else. But the fact that Connor Enright, as we know, is an offensive liability. He passed the ball very well tonight, had 8 assists. Nick Dorn had one of his worst games of his career, right? He's been on fire. He comes out and goes 2 for 12 tonight, all of those from behind the arc. I get it. That's where he's comfortable. That's where he shoots. But you got to find something else because the law of averages said you weren't going to drop 30 in this game. We were hoping for that. We were leaning on that. Clearly, we were banking on that, but it didn't work. It didn't go that way. And USC said, cool, go ahead and shoot that shot, brother. You ain't making it. And he didn't. He went 2 for 12 tonight. Right? You got guys in there like Reed Bailey, who took a step back this evening. Tatum Conaway didn't play a ton of minutes, made some winning plays down the stretch, but he is obviously not 100%. And here we are again, sitting here after an Indiana loss, a close loss, a tough loss, and a loss that you shouldn't have had. We're sitting here and we're asking for somebody else, just one person, just one player, just one soul to step up and help Lamar Wilkerson. 33 points tonight for Lamar. You put up 75 on the road. Folks, that's good enough to get it done, but you couldn't get stops defensively. You couldn't defend without fouling. You fouled 24 times tonight as a team. 24. That's horrible. 24 fouls in 40 minutes. That's horrible basketball. Were the officials good tonight? No. They weren't. They were terrible. The officials were terrible, but they were bad on both sides. Let's just be real. But you give up 29 points to a kid playing in his 5th ever career game. You let him shoot the ball 23 times. Yes, that's right. 23 times. That's how many shots Arenas put up tonight. Gave him 29 total points, 18 for Woods, 12 for Asar. You let 2 guys beat you that weren't even on the scouting report. Right? We talked about Asar, Chad Baker, and Kofi. Those are the 3 guys we talked about coming into this game. And they got some, right? Chad Baker clearly got hurt and didn't come back, and we hope the best for him. That was a nasty-looking injury, got landed on by Sam Alexis. Kofi had 9 points. 5 of them came from the free throw line. He ended up fouling out. He did have 5 boards and 5 assists. Asar, 12 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. He fouled out too. But you gave up 18 to Woods and 29 to Arenas. What do you expect? You gave up 81 points on the road. You got out-rebounded by 15. You did not deserve to win this game tonight. And so, forget about building on it. Forget about stacking wins. That's over. Your West Coast trip was a waste. And now you come back home and you have a chance to get back on track against Wisconsin. I do think there were some good things here, but I also think that Indiana's just an undisciplined team. That's how I feel. That's what I saw. And that's what I'm saying right now on this edition of Locked On Hoosiers. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. We'll talk about that, plus likes and dislikes, all that coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers. Stick around. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by TurboTax. Look, tax season doesn't have to take over your life, okay? This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. So, instead of you sitting down and trying to handle all of this, they'll do it for you, from your W-2 to self-employed forms, and work to get you every single deduction. It's a huge time saver, and it gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. I've used it for years. My family uses it. My sisters, my cousins, a lot of us use it, especially as young adults. It is the way to go. So that way you don't have to worry about tax season, okay? So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert did not file for you last year, just file by February 28th. So you got about a month or so, about 3.5, 4 weeks, okay? Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Again, TurboTax.com/local. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you are right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game that everyone has been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting, with kickoff all the way to the final whistle. So if you are a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win, okay? Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season's over, all right? Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com right now to get started. Okay, we're back here on this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. We're about to get into likes and dislikes. I know it is late. I appreciate you being here, staying up to A, watch whatever that game was, and B, watch this and be a part of our show. So be sure to drop your thoughts in the YouTube comments. I see our buddy Zach Seiko is here from Locked On Nittany Lions and says he's a top 10 freshman, potentially. Indiana made him look like a top 10 freshman tonight, didn't they? They absolutely did. He looked like an All-American. He played good basketball. There's no doubt about it. And I hope it didn't come off that way of how can you let that guy go off for that much? He's a good player. It's the idea that he hasn't done it all year long. Folks, he averages 7 points a game. and he just played the best game of his career. So Indiana falls to USC 81-75. And I talk about this team being undisciplined because they are. They are. This team is undisciplined, plain and simple. If you can't communicate on defense, defend without fouling, work your offense, take good shots, and learn from your mistakes, you are an undisciplined team. And that was Indiana tonight. Here's what's frustrating, though, is Indiana is an inconsistent, undisciplined team. Does that make sense? Is that even grammatically correct? Couldn't tell you. But what I mean by that is you don't see those problems all the time, right? Go back to Saturday. Indiana rebounded the basketball pretty well. Indiana moved the basketball pretty well. Indiana defended pretty well. Even though you gave up 90 plus, you played 2 overtimes. It was going to happen. This game looked like a completely different team. It's a team that can't shoot, can't defend, doesn't get back, and makes stupid plays. How does that change from game to game? How does that mentality, that execution be good in one game and poor in the other? That is baffling to me. And folks, we're in February. We are at the point of this team just consistently being inconsistent. They're going to play good one night. They're going to play crappy one night. That's it. And the idea that this team, which we knew going into the season because of the guys on this team, the coaching staff, the head coach, and their mentality, they told us this. The fact that they are just dead set on living and dying by the 3, I just don't understand it, especially on the road. On the road, where Indiana has not been good. You just got your best win of the season against UCLA on the road, who's a fine team, but not great. Right? So why is this team who shot 35 threes tonight, 35, and only made 10 of them, why is this team saying, yeah, that's the way. That's the path to victory. That's going to do it. We'll just shoot our way out of it. Not tonight. You didn't do it this evening. 10 of 35, that's pitiful. That's ridiculous. Find other ways to score. Find other ways to make an impact. For a team that normally gets to the free throw line, you only got there 16 times. You got there less than that, obviously. You only shot 16 free throws. On the road, that's not good enough to win. Not in conference play. Not in this league. It's not. You shoot 35 times from deep and only get to 16 free throw attempts, you're not going to win unless you make 20 of those threes. This team has no identity. They have no identity. They're so undisciplined in everything they do, right? In shot selection, crashing the boards, defending without fouling. Again, those stats are horrific, and this is kind of bleeding into likes and dislikes here. I dislike how the team operates on a day-to-day basis. I dislike how this team fluctuates its performance from game to game. I understand that opponents have a lot to do with that and what they do and how they defend you and how they play you and how they react to you. All of that has an impact, 100%. But look at me right now and tell me what USC did tonight that took Indiana out of their game. Tell me what USC did. Something special, something different, something unique that they did either offensively or defensively rather than giving it to their star freshman, right? What did USC do tonight that just had Indiana fooled where they couldn't overcome it? I don't think they did anything. They rebounded good, sure. Asar was bullying you on the inside, sure. But that's nothing crazy. That's anything that Indiana couldn't overcome. They didn't do anything that another team couldn't overcome. The Hoosiers just couldn't win. They couldn't play good enough to win this game. And that's what's frustrating here. Right? Again, likes and dislikes. Lamar, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You dropped 33 points on the road. He's so good. He's so good. Lamar Wilkerson is a top 20 player in the country. I don't care what anybody says. He is a top 20 player in college basketball as Lamar Wilkerson. He was the only one to score double digits tonight. 8 from Alexis, 8 from Bailey, 7 from Conaway, 6 from Dorn, 5 from DeVries, which is just pitiful, 3 from Enright, 2 from Josiah Miles, 3 from Trent Sisley. He did hit the big 3. But that's it. Nobody gave you double digits outside of Lamar Wilkerson. And if you don't have Lamar or you have half of him, my God, you get ran out of there. You get ran out of that half-empty gym where Indiana had more fans than USC did. This team, yeah, exactly, Tony. This team is so frustrating because you can see their potential. You know what they can be, but you know what they can't be. And I just don't know. Games like this, I'm speechless because there's so many things that are wrong. And you think you're fixing some things. It's like, okay, Reed Bailey, Sam Alexis started to come on a little bit, started to play good, started to play physical, started to actually be the bigs that you recruited them to be, right? From Davidson and from Florida. You brought them in and you're like, okay, they're starting to play to their size. They're starting to do what we asked them to do. And then they come out and play like they did tonight, where they can't stay out of foul trouble. They can't stay in the game. How many minutes did they play? Alexis played 21. Reed Bailey played 18. Seriously? Really? That's how many, I mean, that's what's frustrating. It's like, okay, it's turning around. We're good. And then they do this. Tucker DeVries, another example. You thought he was scoring. You thought he was turning it around. Maybe he was about to make an impact. No. He had 5 tonight. 1 for 9, right? 1 for 9. When you go 1 for 9, 2 for 12 from the floor, like Nick Dorn and Tucker DeVries did, and I don't want to hit on Nick Dorn too hard. This is the worst game he's played, right? He's been playing very well. He is the reason Indiana has been winning ball games recently. But when you go with those two combined, 3 of 21 from the floor, folks, those are like turnovers, man. You were one and done. You were missing shots, not getting offensive rebounds. Do I have that stat? How many offensive rebounds did Indiana have? 8. You had 8 offensive rebounds. You got beat by 9 in second chance points. You lost by 6. That's a stat you need to know. You didn't turn the ball over all that much. You actually won the turnover battle. You won the turnover battle and the points off turnover battle. You lose by 15 in rebounds. You lose by 9 in second chance points. Paint points were even. Fast break points, you got killed by 10. Indiana actually did a pretty good job passing the basketball. 21 assists on 26 made field goals. I like that. That's a like for me. But man, shooting just 29% from behind the arc and just not giving up on that idea is not how you're going to win basketball games. It's just not. And the inconsistency on this team is very, very frustrating. So want to wrap up. Again, Indiana falls 81-75. I dislike the idea that your West Coast trip is now a wash, right? You get a good win against UCLA, you give it right back with USC. So now your 3-game losing streak is done. You add another loss to that column, right? You are now, is this updated? Yes, it is. 15-8. 6-6 in Big Ten play. 6-6 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games to go. Wisconsin comes to Bloomington Saturday morning. Oregon comes to Bloomington in the midweek. You then go back-to-back on the road at Illinois and Purdue. I would love to see you at least split those. At least win the home games and try to steal one on the road. That's a lot for this team. That's a tall ask. There's no doubt about it. But my goodness, what that could be. Because guess what? You got a coin in your pocket? Cool. Flip it. Call it and see what happens. That's about how you can predict Indiana. They're either going to be good or they're going to be bad. If you got to die, roll that and put different possibilities on that and roll that sucker and see which one comes up. That's probably a pretty good chance of you picking what happens with Indiana. They're going to shoot lights out and drop 120 points. They're going to shoot like crap and they're going to drop 55. They're going to kind of shoot good, but kind of not shoot good, but they can't rebound. So they're going to get beat like they did tonight. They're going to rebound like crazy. They can't shoot, but they make plays because they move and they get into the lane, and they're going to beat somebody by scoring in the paint, or a combination of all that. That's what this Indiana team is, which makes it very, very frustrating, which is why I was hoping, man, the difference of being on a 4-game win streak coming home to Bloomington on Saturday, the crowd will still be good, but that type of an atmosphere is what Indiana needs. This team, up to tonight, the last week and a half, it deserved that. And now they got to re-earn that respect. Now they got to re-earn their brand recognition, if you will. That hurts. That does. That hurts. And so Indiana falls to USC. You didn't let the main guys do it. You let other guys do it. And I don't know if that's more frustrating or less frustrating, but yeah, I'd feel much more comfortable putting $100 on a number on roulette than betting on this team, says Chris. I'm kind of with you, man. What's your number? Let me know. What's your roulette number? 22-24 for me right here. So, okay, we're going to wrap this up. It's late. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, following us on your audio podcasting platform, staying up to watch the game, staying up to watch with us here at Locked On Hoosiers. Make sure you share this, send it to all your family and friends, okay? We will have a full episode coming up for you tomorrow. Again, Indiana falls to USC 81-75. Next game coming up on Saturday against Wisconsin inside of Assembly Hall. We are back tomorrow, Hoosier fans, for another episode. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.